It's a pretty nice pool day from the W Hollywood in Los Angeles, California. Zach Keenan with me, our publisher for DevilsDigest.com, Hod Rabino at Pac-12 Football Media Day. We started off the morning with comments from new commissioner George Kliavkov. Hod, what were some of your impressions on the new commish?
Well, I think that he definitely did say all the right things about having a new vision for the Pac-12. I think even somebody asked him about, is the headquarters still going to be in San Francisco with that exuberant brand? And he said in a nice way, yeah, we're probably going to move it. It's not the most ideal place to have it. But people obviously ask him about the possible expansion of the Pac-12 now that the news of Oklahoma and Texas finally became official, something we kind of knew from 5 days ago that they are going to join the SEC. So folks asked him, where's the Pac-12 going to go from here on out? And even though he didn't offer specifics, he definitely said that the Pac-12 is really open to expanding. He knows that he wants to improve the distribution, improve the media rights of the Pac-12, of the Pac-12 network. So I think he really said all the right things. And right now, I just think like any new commissioner, he still is in the honeymoon phase. And what he says right now on January 27th, 2021, doesn't matter a whole lot unless we see something on January 27, 2023, 2024 actually be coming from theory to action. So I think that's what you have to look forward to with this commish. But I think you are going to see a more aggressive, a more proactive approach from him compared to Larry Scott. That's going to be a welcome change. But again, we have to see when the rubber meets the road, how exactly is this Pac-12 going to be different? Is it going to be different for the better or not? Time will tell.
We also heard from Coach Herm Edwards, who would not comment on the ongoing NCAA investigation, but he had plenty more to talk about today.
Yeah, absolutely. He's really excited about the team, and folks asked him if it's going to be a distraction as far as this NCAA review. He didn't call it an investigation, just to correct the record here, but he just feels that there's really a lot for this team to play for. I mean, you had so many players coming back as super seniors, players that maybe could have declared for the 2020 draft, and they still came back to Tempe to play the 2021 season. And he just feels with that sentiment, with that mindset, with so much experience on both sides of the ball, you're not just going to throw it away just because you have some off-field cloud hanging over your head, something that honestly is not going to affect players that aren't going to be here in 2022. So why not really treat this season as a job addition, for the NFL draft? And why not really try to make your mark? It really has been, I believe, 24 years since ASU was last in the Rose Bowl. So why don't you try to achieve a feat that really has eluded Arizona State so many times, and try to make your mark in your last year in Tempe? So that's something that he definitely did talk a lot about too. And again, I mean, I don't know if it's like circling the wagons or however else you want to describe it, but I just feel that this team is indeed as focused as the head coach, and if that's the case, this could be a successful year, a year that ASU probably finishes higher than the third place finish in the South, which kind of surprised me. But again, I just feel like the off-the-field events are taking place right now with this program really swayed the media to pick them lower than what I expected, because I think this is a team that can win the Pac-12 South and definitely has a good chance to win the Pac-12 championship.
Well, the Rose Bowl is clearly the goal of this team, as not only outlined by Coach Herm Edwards, but also Jayden Daniels and Chase Lucas. We had the opportunity to hear from both of them. Jayden Daniels entering his third year at ASU, Chase Lucas entering his fifth. They spoke about some of the NIL deals Jayden Daniels has been working on, but Chase Lucas had a very different approach, that he's not focused on the nickels and dimes, he said. He's so focused on winning a Rose Bowl championship. It's the clear focus that the team wants that this year, and there's so many things going in their favor. Jayden Daniels spoke highly of incoming Utah transfer Brian Thompson, coming in at wide receiver, as expecting him to have a breakout year at ASU, as he's already had in the past at Utah, but also about his offensive line. It's the first time in his 3 years in Tempe that Jayden Daniels feels comfortable. There are no question marks on this offensive line. On the defensive side, Chase Lucas outlined the expectations that he has on defense. It's not only the guys like Merlin Robertson, Darian Butler, those mainstays of the program in Tempe, but also fresher faces such as DeAndre Pierce, whom he referred to as the quarterback of the defense. Antonio Pierce's son, he certainly has that defensive mind, but some newer guys, Isaiah Johnson, Tommy Hill, whom he expects to have great years in Tempe, even though they may not have all the experience that some of the older guys do.
Yeah, and I think it's really important for ASU, as much experience as they have on defense, to groom the Tommy Hills, the Isaiah Johnsons, Eric Gentry at linebacker, defensive linemen like Omar Norman Lott, Joe Moore, because at the end of the day, those are the guys that are going to carry the mantle in 2022 for this ASU defense. It's great to have this experience, and I think that's probably the one reason, at least in my opinion, why I'm so bullish on this ASU team, because as much talent as any team has, there's no substitute for experience. And when you're talking about a team that had, for the last 3 years, more than 1 or 2 members on various all Pac-12 teams, that's something that if you look all across the conference, I don't think a lot of teams, if any, can really make the same claim. So that's why there is so much excitement about what this team can achieve. But again, it's really important, and I think fans should be encouraged when Chase Lucas talks about the true freshman. I mean, Isaiah Johnson just arrived here last month with Tommy Hill because he was a spring enrollee. We got to see him in spring practice. He definitely showed some flashes over there. Eric Gentry at linebacker, as I mentioned. So the future is really going to be on display at Arizona State, and those players are going to get as much time as possible, even though, like you said, abundance of experience on defense, a lot of experience on offense too. But as a coaching staff, you always have to think to the future, and it might be a really fine line to walk to wanting to play the players that have been there, done that, over the players that are still wet behind the ears. But that's a tightrope that ASU is going to have to navigate, even a successful season, just to make sure that those players are getting this necessary experience, because the last thing you want them to do is to have that deer in the headlights look in 2022, just because their playing experience was so limited in 2021, again, with a vast number of experienced players. So it's going to be really interesting to see, again, if ASU really exceeds expectations, at least that we put here today in the Pac-12 preseason media poll, and if they really contend for the Pac-12 championship, even the Rose Bowl championship, how much are those younger players playing? Because to me, that's going to be the ultimate win-win situation, where you have a great win-loss record to show for, you have some trophies to put in the trophy case, but at the same time, you can look back and say, I gave those young players as much experience as possible. So now you can go into 2022 feeling just as good, maybe to some extent, compared to 2021, because okay, you lost a lot of experienced players, but guess what? We saw a lot from these younger players in 2021. So there are maybe not such an unknown commodity as one it would expect them to be. So younger players won't be carrying the ASU 2021 team, but I still think they will have some component in any potential success for the Sun Devils this year.
Well, we're in Hollywood right now, but we got a flight to catch to head back to Phoenix, because at this point, Hod, we're essentially counting down the hours until training camp starts. So for all that content, make sure you keep it locked in to DevilsDigest.com. And while you're at it, give us a follow on Twitter at DevilsDigest. He's Hod Rabino. I'm Zach Keenan. We'll see you in training camp.